Guys, it's KJ from the scariest movie ever. Western nations that were once considered Christian are now seeing a reemergence of ancient pagan ideas and traditions. And of course, all of this falls right in place, right in perfect timing with the coming of the Great Tribulation. So here on Earth, we've seen over the last several decades a falling away from Jesus Christ, a falling away from the church, if you will. And now we see this coming paganism in all different forms all around the world. And we can see evidence of this global trend. As I said, it's all around. Iceland constructed its first pagan temple in over 1,000 years, specifically to worship the old Nordic gods, Thor and Odin. Not that long ago in Greece, we had Hellenists promoting the worship of the ancient deities Zeus, Apollo, and Athena, while even a few years ago at the Getty Museum in Los Angeles, they had children writing prayers to Aphrodite or Venus, the Greco-Roman goddess of love and lust and patron goddess of prostitutes. And then you can look to Eastern Europe, where people celebrate ancient fertility rites by dancing around and jumping over fires, customs from a pre-Christian past. In Russia, church leaders note with concern the growing interest in pagan traditions. In America, the fastest growing religion is witchcraft, and statues promoting Satanism appear on public grounds now. We see that shift taking place. And a classic example of this is in England. At Stonehenge, thousands gather at Stonehenge on the summer solstice to greet the rising sun, or sun worship, or Satan worship, really. Sun gods, right? That's the devil. In Edinburgh, Scotland, performers painted as red devils entertain crowds to celebrate the ancient Celtic fire festivals of Beltane and Samhain, while many gather at ancient UK sites to burn a wicker man as the Druids once did. And in America, thousands travel to Burning Man festivals, catering to uninhibited behavior resembling old pagan practices. The term pagan was initially used to describe anyone who didn't believe in the God of the Bible or follow biblical guidelines. The thoroughly pagan Greco-Roman world, given to idol worship and adopting gods and practices of other religions as if they were interchangeable, provides one ancient example. Such concepts and practices were totally at odds with biblically influenced religion. The Greeks and Romans were a mix of polytheists who worshipped many gods and goddesses, pantheists who believed that God was everywhere in nature, and what we now call atheists, worshipping no God at all. Such pagans had no knowledge of the God of the Bible. The idea of one true personal God was generally foreign to them. In Greco-Roman paganism, there were few fixed ideas. Truth was relative. There was little comprehension of absolute right and wrong, and no real concept of sin, guilt, or judgment. Each person decided his or her own path through life, gratifying physical desires and pursuing personal happiness. Unlike the God of Scripture, the gods of the Greek pantheon were promiscuous. Myths abound with tales of their lust, envy, murder, and other gruesome deeds. Open sexuality and debauchery characterized many pagan ceremonies, especially the spring and midsummer fertility festivals. The worship of Aphrodite involved visits to temple prostitutes that generated revenue for the temple, which the Bible also condemns. In Greco-Roman society, fornication, homosexuality, and the sexual abuse of children was advocated by Plato and practiced by the Spartans. This was very common and accepted. Art, that we would term pornography, was everywhere. The Roman baths, inns, and taverns were locations for gratifying any kind of physical desire. One reason that pagans saw biblical religion as a threat was that they feared the Bible's teachings would basically shut down their merry dance. The Bible teaches that children are a gift from God and that they're precious in His sight. However, in the ancient pagan world, infanticide was common. Aristotle advocated killing children for population control and to eliminate malformed infants. History records the case of a Roman citizen advising his wife that if she had a child while he was away, she should keep it if it were a boy, but kill it if it were a girl. The pagans of ancient Canaan and Carthage burned babies alive as sacrifices to the god Baal, hoping to receive in return rain or safe voyages, a practice the scriptures clearly have condemned. The Bible also states that human beings are made in God's image and not to kill each other. Yet in the pagan world, human life had little value. Not only killing in battle, the Romans also killed for entertainment on a massive scale, and thousands of people died as crowds cheered in arenas scattered across the empire. Just a few months ago, King Charles sent out these invitations for his coronation, and take a look on the very, very bottom of that. You'll see a leafy-faced green man. I've covered the green man in other videos. You've probably seen some information on him before through others as well. And he's been making his own kind of reemergence, I guess you could say, but he's been here for a long time. The green man was once considered a forest god to our pagan ancestors, and he wasn't just a forest god, he was also seen as the ultimate guardian of the forest. It's also really interesting to note that you can find symbolism of the green man in many old churches, which is really weird since the church's goal was to stamp out paganism, among other things, anything demonic, anything evil. Some believe that the people that built the churches still held on to their old pagan belief systems, and still others believed that the church felt the only way to appease these old gods or devils was to give them a small honorary space of their own on the walls of their church. And yet another theory says the green men were included in the church's architecture as a way to show the locals that the old gods were like stone and therefore conquered by the church. But more importantly is the green man's connection to paganism. There's a theory that the green man was once a central figure of May Day in ancient Ireland called Beltane. It's a fire and fertility festival. Europe's Eurovision Song Contest recently took place, and in this contest we find another classic example of that rise of paganism in our world. And all of this comes to us from a young lady named Thug Bambi, I believe is her name. We've talked about Taylor Swift and some of these other Illuminati celebrities here in America performing satanic rituals on stage, right in front of their people. Remember that many people are claiming they lose their memories at these Taylor Swift concerts. Lana Del Rey's had some strange things at her concerts and rituals. Travis Scott, another example, but we're seeing more and more of this. But what I'm about to show you here was this performance they did at Eurovision. Definitely one of the most satanic performances I've seen. Straight up ritual right on stage. So check some of this out.
Special? Do you know what makes me special? I'm a queer. And I'm a